How's it going, my Comic Chat Army? Back with another review, a long overdue review that we've tried to do several times, but just couldn't find the time to do it. Like bigger books we have a problem with because it takes more time to read them, obviously, but...
Well, and we have to stop it, read a smaller... Like, we go back and forth trying to fit everything in.
Instead of reading 26 pages and we're like, all right, cool, I got what I want to say about this book.
Yeah. Well, you and yours was like two of mine, honestly.
Well, funny you said that, because this is the biggest book we've ever reviewed.
Yep.
Page-wise.
Yep. Yours just has chapters in it, actually.
It has 5 chapters and an epilogue.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
And the only problem I have about the title is I keep wanting to say the Saint. All the time. I'm like, the Saint. It's just Saint. Saint by J.R. Dunbar. I think he did it all. Wrote it, edited. Yeah. Oh, no, he did not.
No?
He lettered it, wrote it. Someone else did the art. And the cover art and the epilogue. Rich.
He did the epilogue art. So basically, J.R. Dunbar wrote and just did the lettering, and there was... I cannot say those names. Sorry. I don't want to... I'm bad at that as it is.
Saint.
And I read Parallel. Oh, it's one-word titles today.
It is. Check
Saint
that out.
Parallel, which was written... was written... Well, see, there's different artists, but it was written by Jason Douglas, art by Adam Ferris, lettered by Justin Birch, and cover colors was by Leslie... I cannot say that last name.
But, cool enough is you can get Parallel through your comic book shop because it is through Source Point Press. We'll have a diamond code for that down below, and also we'll have a link to Saint down below so you can buy your own copies, read it, and come back and comment what you liked or didn't like about the book.
Yep.
So I'm going to let you go first because I've got a lot to say.
Okay. Well, before I get into this book, here, let me take
Hold on, let me tell them,
mark out really quick.
Jason Douglas. We interviewed him.
Yep.
So somewhere at the top, the I will pop up, and that'll be the interview for Jason Douglas. We also interviewed J.R. Dunbar, but we ain't got there yet.
So
Parallel.
Before I get into this book, I do want to touch, there is a quick subject of suicide, a topic in this book. And, you know, if anybody's out there struggling with depression, any suicide thoughts, seek help. You know, we try to bring light to sensitive subjects like that when we are reviewing books. But, yeah, so anything you want to add on to that? I wish we had a number for a hotline.
Yeah, we'll put a hotline number down so you can call and talk to somebody.
You know, I mean, especially this day and age, you know, COVID has really affected a lot of people mentally. We are dealing with things personally in our own family right now that has affected it. So if you're feeling anything along those lines, seek help.
Talk to somebody.
To anybody.
Brother, sister, family, dad, somebody. Reach out to somebody.
Exactly. But anyways, this book, I kind of, what did I tell you? I wish I would have finished this sooner. It's a good book. It's such a good book. And it's really perfect for the types of styles of books that I like to read and like what I like to review. So it's about an artist named Landon. Basically, he's a successful musician in his 20s, kind of hit the fame, met, you know, the love of his life, this and that, kind of gave it all up, and now he's kind of going through, as they've called it, a quarter life crisis because of his age. He's not a midlife crisis, it's a quarter life crisis. Just walked away from everything to have a family and have a normal life and have the kid, the home, the everything. And it's not what he wanted. He kind of seeks into depression. His marriage starts to fall apart. Just really, you know, kind of forgets and loses who he is. So, and an event happens where he gets thrown in front of a bus. They think he's attempted suicide.
That's right at the beginning.
That's right at the beginning, and that's how this all starts.
This book doesn't play any games.
Like
it gets you going immediately.
You can show it right there.
I'm showing it to him.
Show him, right, jumps into traffic and hits himself dead smack into a bus. So in Parallel, the reason why it's named Parallel is he's kind of looking at his life and his parallel universe, what he would have been, what he could have been, I get a little confused when I'm reading it because of how they dive into his parallel universe. It's, you know, what he wanted to always be, what he wanted to always have, and it's like the inner voices in his head saying, if you just do this, we'll help you get there. And it's kind of making him question and reevaluate what he's done with his life. His wife is a very controlling, power hungry, high up VP in a company.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but do you think
Excuse me.
Jason's first marriage was kind of like this book?
I don't know. That'd be very interesting to see if there's anything personally attached to this book, because it's very detailed. And
little fun fact really quick, Jason Douglas that's his pen name. He's a teacher, and I don't even know his real name, but he goes by Jason Douglas. All of this is explained in the interview. Watch it. It's very cool. He's a very interesting man. It's been way too long. We got to get him back for part 2.
Yep.
So what was you saying? You think there should be a part 2 to this book?
Yes.
Or think it would make sense?
No, I think it would. I think it would be really cool to continue to see.
Same characters or new ones?
No, I think if they can find a way to, I don't know, maybe do another story, yes, but you know, it's sad to see because he's taking real life situations. There's many of us that are out there that have had this high, you know, amazing life when we were younger, and we settled down to live what we thought would be a better life, and it ends up not being what you wanted, and you become miserable, and you become basically a zombie. You're just living through the same routine every day. The character Landon works for his wife. He's like a senior executive assistant, and they lose their love for each other. She becomes, you know, this controlling woman, and he just becomes an empty soul, a shell of a man. Exactly. Thank you. And he's tired of it, and he starts to question, well, what if I didn't give up all of that? What if I didn't break my band up? What if we continued to do this and I went this way and that way with my life? And a lot of people do question that. I know in parts of my life before I met Cody, I questioned a lot.
So really quick, how does it explain him and the parallel?
And that's why I think it should continue. I don't mean to stop you, but it doesn't. Basically, he chooses his own path, and we'll leave it at that. He kind of listens to the voice and makes his own decision, and I'm just going to leave it at that. So it doesn't give you like 5 years later this happened or that happened. It just leaves you at him making that choice for himself for once in his life, and that's it.
So 1 out of 10 recommendation. 10 being 10. The highest.
10.
10 out of 10?
Especially if you like books that touch on realism and situations like that, which I do. I'm a realist. I'm very much of a realist. So, absolutely. I think this book was fantastic. I think the way it was written was very well written. You didn't leave any gaps for anything to be dull or boring. It was very grabbing, catching on moment to moment. Yes, I think you should read it. It's a great book.
Likewise. I think you should read Saint. Well, we say that about every other...
It's just we don't have the time. I mean, we're raising a family, and we work jobs. Cody works 50 plus hours a week, and I work a full-time job, and we have the kids, and it's just really hard. We try to get what we can through as much as we can, and it's not that we're putting it aside and we're being lazy. We're not. We just have a life, and it's hard to juggle everything all at once sometimes.
All right.
But, yeah. Continue.
All right. Saint is about, I'm terrible with names. Jake Barker is a normal man that become a superhero. Well, he didn't become a superhero. He's a vigilante. And I liked the book. I recommended it, but I wish the art was better. But the story was good enough that I really didn't mind the art.
So it carried the art?
Yeah, the story carried the art all the way. But I wish you would, redo the art. Like, you see the cover? The cover's nice. Like, even the variant covers that he did in the back are awesome. Oh, and we also interviewed JR too, so we'll leave a link to that at the bottom. But Jake Barker Jake Barker is a vigilante, and I'll show you some of the pages that I'm talking about. He's a vigilante, and he's trying to stop crime, and he keeps, what is this dude's name? Marvell? I think it's like Marvin or something, but he keeps stopping him. This drug syndicate, and dude gets a hold of his sister. I'm assuming it's his sister. I think it said it was his sister, but ends up killing Jake Barker, which is Saint, and he goes to this alternate world. Oh, where's it at? Which is pretty cool.
Wait, I didn't mean to stop. There was something you said earlier about this superhero when we were talking about the books. What was it that you said earlier?
Oh, it's kind of hard to do superhero books because you got Batman, Superman, and everything has already been done. Yep. But there was a whole lot of originality in this book. Like, I think it was so original that it was like meta. They even talked about it. Like, they got a robot that jumps out of a ambulance. An ambulance. And even the Saint says, oh shit, a robot out of an ambulance. I've never expected that. Never seen that before. So it was very cool and original. I cannot think of the place he goes. Like, it's in between realms. I think it's called like Elseworld. No, not Elseworld. I'm drawing a blank on it. But so he gets revenge on Marvell. I think it's Marvell or Marvin. And he takes him to this Elseworld. And this is where he talks to, I don't know the guy's name. I'm so terrible with names, but I'm trying to give y'all the best review because this book was awesome. He talks to the little spirit guy that's in the Elseworld guide. And he's like, I'm going to show you your biggest fears and this and that. And he just basically shows him himself. But I wish the art would have been better, or, I'll show you. Yeah. Or at least there, it kind of has shrouded it in mystery.
It doesn't have a lot of depth to it.
Right.
Or detail at times.
Or, what would have been even cooler? If it was like a little shiny piece there, and like when you see it, you see yourself. That would have been cool, but I just thought of that. That has nothing to do with the book. It doesn't take away. So he gets the attention of the big boss, and the big boss does, he has a super fucked up name. Look, can we see fucked up? I guess we did, didn't we? But it's a great book. I definitely recommend picking it up. I'm gonna show y'all the part about the robot coming out of the ambulance.
Do you think that it needed to be broken up into the chapters like it was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely helped me get through it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the 4 and 5 was the biggest chapters, but the book was good. And another problem I had is there's no concept of time during this book. He's like fighting this robot, then he's gonna go save some kids from a roller coaster, and like he's doing all of these things. Is this all happening back to back, or all happening at once? Like, is this over
span of time?
Right, span a week, a year, a month? Like,
yeah, I get what you're saying.
It's real actiony, but not real wordy. Like,
but if it's in another universe, is there time in that universe? You see what I'm saying? Like,
well, the universe is only like where he got his powers. I'm trying to find the name really quick. But give me 1 second.
I mean, I like the colors in the book. I mean, it's very comic-y, it's got the bright colors. And
oh, yeah. It was a solid read for his very first book, I think this was.
And that's a pretty bold move to take to write such a big book for being your first book. I mean, you wrote a 5-chapter book.
Yes.
So, and if Cody enjoyed it as much as he did, I mean, that's pretty good that you were able to keep an audience through 5 chapters.
Yeah, I mean, it kept my attention. It was just, and every now and then I found that it felt like the panels jumped. Like 1 minute he'd be fighting, then he's like over here talking. Let me see if I can find it. It was like right there where the robot is. Like some of the panels, they jumped. Oh, come on, don't do this to me.
We need to start marking things before we go into it.
Well, I can't find it, but
Pick up the book if you guys want.
Yes. Pick up the book and read it, and you'll see. Well, you'll get your own opinion, but see, like things like this, I just wish the art was a little bit better. Like some things is hard to make out of what exactly I'm looking at, but I definitely give this book a solid 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. I recommend it to everybody. You should at least pick it up, or if you can get the single issues, I suggest you just pick up a couple chapters and read it.
Yeah.
But I did like the very end, like it was like the Game of Death style. Like he had like a bunch of doors, and he had to pick the door to fight the next person. That was pretty original.
It's kind of like a game.
Yeah, like Bruce Lee, Game of Death, and he fights like a Bruce Lee type dude, and it gives you quick backstory on why they're bad. Like this guy, he wouldn't, like when his opponent was down, he would still keep hurting him and just doing terrible things to him instead of fighting fair. And I think the funniest thing was when he fights the chick, like she damn near kills him before he finally fights back, and then she's like, "Why are you hitting a girl?" Like there's a lot of times that I laughed in this book. It was great, but really quick. I think there was one missed opportunity, because when he comes into the Comic-Con, he loses his powers. And I forget why it explains why he loses his powers, but I thought that when the dude busted the window, that it was something in the air for him to lose his powers, but I don't think that was the reason why. And I think that was a missed opportunity. Like it should have been like something in the air, and he busted the window to get fresh air in, and now he's got his powers back. Kind of ruined the book a little bit, but it's still a good book. I would definitely want to see if he's going to do a Saint 2 or do more with the character.
Or maybe something with other characters in that book.
Right.
Possibly.
I want to see what else is in the universe. Like, see, the epilogue art is different. I know this is a really long video.
Well, they're longer books too, so.
But see, this art style,
yeah,
I'd have been content with. But the story's there. Just the art needs to be better. Is my final thoughts on it.
But yeah, I would love to see a second book. I think with Parallel, I think if they did like another story, I think that would be pretty cool. You know,
like a whole different people.
Yeah, well, you know, like how I've reviewed like Freak Show Princess, like those.
Right.
You know, they do separate stories. I think something like that would be pretty cool. But I think for these books being the longer books that we've reviewed, they're definitely pretty good books. I'm happy.
I'd like to see like Saint like year 3 or year 4 or 5, because this one is the origin story, how he's got his powers, what he's got, and what he's capable of. Now I want to see him like after he's done mastered all of that,
yeah,
and fighting someone serious, like a serious foe. I mean, these are serious foes because it's like year 1 type stuff, but
yeah,
I want to see like after he masters everything and what he does with it.
Well, that's it, you guys. Anything else?
Like, subscribe, comment. Stick around. We've got some interviews from Jim Turner. We're interviewing somebody, so go ahead and subscribe, because you're going to get an interview. May not be who I said, but it'll be somebody.
And we have some other good reviews coming up soon.
We do. We got a lot of greatness.
Yep. So, stay tuned.
Oh, yeah. A lot of big books coming, too. And we got paper films, which that's a whole video in itself. But, later, guys.